B-85 Pilot with you on a Father's Day. And yes, I am out at the hangar here Sunday morning, just doing a little bit of work because I kind of got cheated out of yesterday, didn't feel good. So today I'm going to get some parts pro-sealed in and then get back be with my family so I can enjoy the rest of Father's Day. So I've actually got many of the parts pulled out right now because I've cleaned up, deburred, and run some MEK over all that material. Drilled some extra holes into that part that's going to be my motor mount because where those vertical 1.5 by 2 inch 6061 aluminum are going to go up, I actually have 8 AN bolts that'll be holding that in place that are torqued in. That's not going to get pro sealed. That's going to be aluminum to aluminum contact with a correct torque setting. These edges that seal the bulkhead off to the passenger compartment are all cleaned up and set over here. And there's those verticals I was talking about. Those are going to get their parts put on and then installed again with the bolts. And probably what I'll install first is this little critical piece. This is the part that those Bowen cables drive through, and that'll be easier to get the rivets in with everything else out of there. And then once that part is in, I'll probably put these side parts in, the center parts in, and then we'll get to assembling this little part that creates my enclosure for those Bowden cables. And then once that's all actually in and I've used the flush rivets where they're going to belong, we can actually get a better idea on the fit for this piece, which will get a lower part. But I'm just going to make that a part that's bent up at 90 degrees and about 3/4 tall that I can have 2 screws in. But I'm going to make it to where it actually screws onto that part. I'm not going to make that a riveted part just because of the way the installation is looking. So it's off to work mixing up some Proseal, and that's what's all set for it. Thank goodness I've got the pneumatic gun for it now, because that sure makes life easier. Oh, that distinctive smell and color of well-mixed Proseal. As you know, I really like it when a plan comes together. And this is really looking good. I've got a nice bulkhead here. I can make a little plate for in there, but I want to figure out, how some of my wires are going to run for EGT and CHT and ignition. That all's going to be handled in the center there. The cables are working out really nice. And the look from this side, and I told you before, I want to put that PPS box from Vertical Power on this side, and that'll handle the what will basically replaces having a solenoid for master power and for the starter, and also for triggering the alternator. You see how nice the fuel system came out over here for my shutoffs. And what this has allowed me to do is to place some components in and see how they'll fit. That's going to be out of the way. That's my angle of attack that runs out to the wing. Battery will fit right back in there. I'll make a little plate that has some nut plates on it for that. I'm going to take my transponder and make a box that mounts the transponder and the GTR-20R, the remote comm radio, out right up there, and that'll mount right up high. That means my VPX box can go right below it. My engine monitoring can fit up on that part of the bulkhead. And what I'm left with as far as components to install are going to be the IBBS, the backup, the 3 amp hour backup battery. That's for the ignition, and just minimal instruments in case I lose main power, and that all gets handled through that VPX as well. And then the little GPS-20. This is a lightweight box. I can mount this back here if I have room. If I find that once I'm getting these components, engines, and the drivetrain in, that I need to mess with my weight and balance, I have the option of putting this up here in the forward. Here, the GPS-20 I could mount up here, and then for that matter, the 3 amp hour battery I could mount forward. So I've got a lot of possibilities since I'm already very, very close in having weight and balance figured on my earlier calculations on the plane. But I've got those small units that can be either placed right there midline where the CG is, or forward if I need to put weight forward on the aircraft. But I'm thinking I'm not going to have to. Well, that makes for my kind of day working on the plane, where I get something accomplished and not too big of a mess. There was Prosealed getting all over the place at certain times. But anyone who's worked with it knows it's like, where did it come from? You bumped into something and now it's getting everywhere. Those of you who haven't worked with it, good luck when you do. BD5 Pilot is out for now. I'm going to head home and enjoy the rest of Father's Day with my family. And for all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day, and have a great one. We'll see you next week.